Welcome to today's webinar, Introduction to Text-Based Coding in the Language of HTML. Special thanks to the Government of Canada for funding this initiative. My name is Danielle, and I'm excited to be discussing HTML with you today. Our webinar will cover the following areas: introducing HTML, basic structure of HTML documents, introduction to the STEM project using tags and web page design elements, adding more design using tags and links to your STEM project, and then looking ahead at what's to come. This series will be looking at the coding languages HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. To start, HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language, meaning it contains text plus markup, or decorations to the text, and hyperlinks to jump to other pages or places in a page. HTML was the first language of World Wide Web browsers, so it creates a foundation for JavaScript and CSS, newer languages that are added as the web continued to grow and evolve. We will start with the latest version of HTML, HTML5. HTML is a declarative language, meaning it defines what should be done or displayed, but not how. By contrast, JavaScript is an imperative language, meaning it explains how to accomplish a task by breaking down the details of every step. JavaScript involves action, while HTML is static. JavaScript can do extremely complex things that HTML cannot do, but HTML is often easier for coders because common tasks are handled automatically by the browser program on your computer, such as Chrome or Safari. Now, CSS is also declarative, but focuses on improved style, looks, and layout. CSS greatly expands design possibilities, so some coders specialize in just this area. For today's purpose, we will start with HTML only, and we will look at JavaScript and CSS in later videos to come. An HTML document is the internet's version of a page. Think of a traditional newspaper page. A page contains letters and words and paragraphs, which makes up the stories or content that reporters have written. A page is also the work of designers who give the page a distinctive look while keeping it easy to read, and typesetters who lay out letter blocks into lines and columns, headlines and paragraphs, lists and tables, and include special plates for photos and graphics. Sometimes they will break up a story and include a continued on page link. And at different stages of preparation, proofreaders and fact checkers look for errors of any kind. Once ready, printing plates can produce many newspapers for distribution. All of this is also done with websites and apps. HTML documents declare what goes into each page of a website and declare how browsers should display them. Once coded, an HTML document can be seen by thousands or millions of people using internet browsers. Unlike a physical newspaper, a browser can make some changes, magnification or adjustments for screen size and shape, for example, but the content is static and will not change until we add JavaScript later on. So now let's dig into how and where to start coding in HTML. Let's look at a simple HTML document. The tradition when learning a computer language is to start by displaying Hello World. Here's how it's done with HTML. Let's look at each line of code together. The first line tells the computer's browser program that this is HTML5 code. The next line says the HTML document starts here. This tag needs a matching end tag, which we can see in the last line. The next line starts the head section, which includes information about the document itself. Then the title line is an example of info about the document. It gives the document a title, of course. Next, the end of the head section is declared with an end tag with an extra slash. After the head section comes the start tag for the body, the main section of the document. Now we declare our content, in this case, the traditional coder's greeting, "Hello World." All that is left is to end the body section and the entire HTML document. To enter this code and see a result, we need a code editor and a browser. Now, properly setting up your computer to do this can take some time. So we've had a special website created for jumpstarting new coders found at code.wonderville.org. In another window or tab, go to our editor so you can easily switch back and forth between it and this video. You might want to pause this video now to load the editor. In the next slide, we will be walking through its capabilities. When you arrive at the editor site, this is what you should see. On the left, with the retro black background look, is the code editor. Similar to a word processor, a code editor has special features to make the job of coding easier. Anyone wanting to explore coding in depth will want to get a full-featured editor for the operating system, because our code editor is simple on purpose for learning. You can see there are 3 buttons: Run, Save, and the menu button. You would select Run when you want to see the results of your code. And the normal process for a coder is to type some code into an editor, run the code, check for bugs, and circle back to the editor to fix problems or make the next small improvement. Now let's jump into the editor together and try it out. Now that we are both in the editor, let's try some coding together. Now, as a reminder, at any point, to bring you back to the original code seen here, all you have to do is press the menu button with the 3 lines and then click on to reset code to Hello World. But right now we're already set up, so let's click inside the editor right after the code Hello World, and for fun, type your name. Feel free to pause this video and make sure you have entered everything correctly in the right place. The next step is to press the Run button to see the results of your code displayed on the right. You should see Hello World and your name. If not, as all coders know, the computer does what you say, not what you wish. So if there is a mistake in the code you entered, then you may have a bug, which will have to be corrected. Some bugs are not serious. Browsers will fix many of them automatically, making it easier for everyone. Some bugs, however, are serious and have to be fixed. You might get a warning message from the computer, or in our case, our editor's display has a status bar at the bottom that will turn red and show a hint about what might be wrong. The message is only a hint and is sometimes misleading because your code might be confusing for the computer. Your job as a coder is to use hints, experience, and careful checking to figure out what is wrong. If you have a bug in your code, try fixing it now. Another important step is to save your work as you go, especially when you have just fixed a bug. You can press the Save button in our editor, and it will save your code as an HTML file to your computer. Pause this video and make and fix a bug or 2. Also, change the title in the head section and the greeting in the body section to anything you want. Repeat this process until you are comfortable with the changes you can make and their results. Now that we understand a little bit about the language and the editor we will be using, let's start to apply it to our project of creating a fun STEM topic content page. Learning coding is easiest when creating something that interests you. It is also important to learn the difference between the code that must be typed exactly right and the content and design you create and control. So let's start the project. As a reminder, if you are a teacher, you can walk through these steps yourself to create an example STEM content page for your students. So, for the project, choose a topic that interests you from science, technology, engineering, or math. Start by writing or finding a few paragraphs of information about the topic. Wikipedia may be a good start here. Later, you can always find more information and add your own writing. But for now, you just need some text to experiment with. Also, think of a title, and then we'll jump into the Wonderful code editor together in just a second to enter the title in the head section and code in the research text between the body tags. Feel free to pause the video to gather your needed research, and then in the next bit, we will enter your context into the editor together. Now that we're in the editor, let's add our title of our STEM project page in between the title tags and erase the preset My First Code. And then between the body tags, instead of Hello World, you can add in your researched content. I have entered some example text about Isaac Newton between the body tag and its end tag. One paragraph was copied from Wikipedia and the other was made up. When I press Run, I will see the text displayed, but there will be no formatting to it or organization of the structure of the content. This is where markup tags come in. As we have already seen, some tags are recognized by humans and computers by the less than and greater than symbols that surround them. There are many different tags for different tasks. Let's start with a look at some organizational tags. Now, we've already seen the HTML, head, and body tags, and their matching end tags, which have an added slash. They are used to divide the document into its main parts. The title tag in the head section gives the document a title, of course, any title that you wish. Heading tags, H1, H2, and so on to H6, marks titles and subtitles, which may be the same as the title in the head section, but maybe not. It's all up to you. Text between these start and end tags will be bigger and bolder than normal text, and H1 starts off being the biggest. Paragraph tags mark the start and end of paragraphs. Originally, the end tag was required, but so many coders forgot them that they are now considered optional. Just the start tag is required. Comments are special tags that do nothing at all, as far as the computer is concerned, that is. You can write anything in this special tag, and the computer will ignore it. Comments are for humans, to keep notes and explain code to others. Now keep in mind, any code can be the start of something big, and future you might be one of those coders trying to figure out what you were thinking today, long after you have forgotten. So it's important to note, the computer ignores some other things as well, such as uppercase or lowercase use in the tags. Does not matter in most cases, but consistency is always best. Extra spaces and lines do not matter to the computer either, but like comments, they help human coders. Multi-level indenting, as seen in the example code, is a very common technique, making it easier to match up start and end tags and see what is inside of them. So let's put some of these tags to use. Before we jump into the editor together, just wanted to highlight my code that I was previously using and where these tags fit. As you can see, I've used Gravity has now a main title, and Isaac Newton is now a subtitle. I've broken my context into paragraphs, and I've left some comments for myself as well. So let's add these tags into your editor. So before I add my special tags, you can see there's no organization. Now I'm going to add in my special tags. Now that they're all added in, I'm going to click Run and see how my display changes. Voila! As you can see here, my page is now much more organized and has some standout titles and subtitles. So those tags helped me organize my page. And there are many different HTML tags for many different jobs. You don't need to know them all, but let's look at some other ones that we would use commonly. Now here are some tags that help to emphasize the text. You can put a start and end bold tag around words you want to stand out. You can also do the same with italic and underline. Strong probably looks the same as bold, but keep in mind that lots of people using your site or app will be using different types of browsers. So for example, a text-to-speech browser for the blind. In those cases, the bold and strong tags might mean to speak louder or with a different tone. As the coder, you cannot be sure exactly what someone else's computer will do, but you can use tags to emphasize what you mean. Let's jump into the editor together and experiment with some of these tags around important words in your example text. I'm going to add in a few bold, italicized, underlined, and strong tags into my text. Feel free to follow along and add them into your text as well. I'm going to bold Sir Isaac Newton's name so it stands out on my page, and always remember to include the slash in your end tag as well. I'm going to also italicize the book title. I'm going to underline a few things as well by using my underline tag and closing tag. And then in my final paragraph, I'm going to have Newton's name be strong. So let's run and see what this page looks like now. It's starting to look so good. You can see where I've made bold and strong tags, where I've italicized words and underlined them, and really started to give some character to the page. So feel free to pause the video and add some of these tags into your example code as well. So let's now explore some more tags, this time having to do with the layout. One of the things a browser will do automatically is add a scroll bar if the content doesn't fit on the screen. You may or may not see a scroll bar, depending on your screen size and how much text you entered. In any case, to experiment, add some more content. Type in some nonsense or copy and paste a paragraph many times. We just want the text to be long so it doesn't fit on one screen and to test this out. While we're at it, let's try the HR or horizontal rule tag and one or more BR break tags. So let's give this a try in our editor now. In the editor now, let's just try to add some of those paragraphs and BR and HR tags to build out the page to create a scroll. I'm just going to be copy pasting some paragraphs in, throw in a BR. Now let's see what that does for our page. As you can see, we have some horizontal rules happening here. And then if we scroll down, our scroll bar is here, and we have some breaks in between our paragraphs. Another HR bar and some more breaks. Now let's move into something called attributes and an image tag. So some tags require more information to work. This is given in attributes. An attribute has a name, an equal sign, and a value in quotes. The name is part of the HTML language, so it must be spelled correctly. The value is up to the coder and gives extra information the browser needs. The image tag is used to put a photo or graphic in your displayed page. This requires two attributes. The first, SRC, is the source of the image, which is usually the name of a JPG or PNG image file somewhere on your computer or the internet. The image tag also requires alternate text in an ALT attribute. This text is used when the image can't be displayed in a browser for the blind, for example. To simplify a bit, to save time, the Wonderville code editor has some built-in fun avatars that you can see by pressing the menu button. Choose your favorite and remember the exact spelling of its name, including the extension. We're going to jump over to our code editor right now and insert a tag to display your favorite avatar with a description of it if it can't be seen. So in our editor, I'm going to go to the menu, and now I have all these avatars that I can add the image to my code. So I'm going to pick avatar 1, that one I want to add to my page. So I'm just going to remember, I can even copy paste this code here. And I'm just going to add it code in right here after the body tag. I'm also just going to leave myself a comment about what I added. Now let's click run and see how the image turns out. Perfect! Now let's see what else we can add to make this page more fun. One of the first great ideas for the World Wide Web was to have hypertext links, which could connect pages and websites by making it easy to jump from one to another. The web has changed a lot since this idea changed the world, but links are still an important part of sites and apps, and are great to enhance our STEM topic page. An example of a hypertext link is an anchor tag. It can define a place in the page, a link to such a place in the page, or a link to an outside page. The attributes used to do this are ID and href. The ID attribute gives an identity or name to a place in the page. Actual name can be letters, numbers, or the underscore character. It's your choice, but it should be helpful to other coders as well, or your future self. For example, ID equals bottom underscore of underscore page is a good example, assuming this tag is at the bottom of the page, of course. The other important attribute is the hypertext reference, href. This declares the destination of the link, the place where we want to go to. For a place in this page, use the pound symbol or hashtag character. Read the example code carefully to understand how the lines are linked. Now let's try it. I'm going to add a link in the body of my code right here, and I'm using an href attribute link. So now that I've added my link here at the top, that would link to the bottom of the page, I'm going to do the same at the bottom of my page and have a link that brings me to the top of my page. And I'm going to run my code to see how it works. I have my link here. Let's test it out. Brings me to the bottom, and then my other link brings me back to the top. Success! Now, to link to another page anywhere on the internet, I would need to follow these steps. First one is use your browser to go somewhere on the internet. You can use Wikipedia again here if you want. You will see the address for the site, the URL, in your browser's address bar. You just need to copy it and then paste it into the href attributes value. You may notice that the URL begins with the website's main page, followed by more specific information. Sometimes the URL is much longer than what you need. You can experiment with shorter versions. Often, the first few parts before a slash will take you to the site's homepage instead of a specific topic page. So it's up to you, as a coder, to test your link to make sure it works and goes where you expect it to go. Feel free to pause this video here and try out one of the links to Wikipedia that's provided and see if the link to some other site or page for your STEM topic works as well. So we gave it a try on our editor as well. I just added in an external link right here under the href value portion, and let's run to see what it looks like. So now Sir Isaac Newton's name is linked to an external Wikipedia page about Sir Isaac Newton. Pretty cool, huh? So now that we have an understanding of the HTML structure and all the cool elements and features we can add to our STEM topic page, we're going to briefly look ahead at some next steps that could be added to enhance your STEM web page even more. So going beyond HTML into JavaScript. JavaScript can add actions, calculations, and interactivity to make your STEM webpage even more awesome. So let's take a peek at that. So far with HTML, this is what our awesome Gravity Isaac Newton page looks like, with internal links, external links, some italicized and bold, page separations, paragraph breakups. So it looks pretty cool. But with JavaScript, we can add even more. So I have now gone in and added some JavaScript code into my text editor. I've added some here, and then also at the bottom, I've added some here to create some action and interactivity on my page. So I'm going to run my code and let's see what I've created. I now see a button called Fetch. I'm going to click it, and now my page has some pretty awesome interactions with my image. How fun is that? So thank you for joining us today. I hope you had fun and keep having fun with HTML coding. To get a sense of the job of coding, keep going with your STEM topic page. Find more information to copy or link to. Experiment with tags and make the page your own. It may never be perfect, but you can always take small steps to make it better. And look out for our future webinars on JavaScript and CSS so you can add even more to your web page, like you just saw with that Fetch button. Our special thanks go out to the Government of Canada for supporting this webinar, and we hope to have you back soon. Bye for now.